Fish Club. So today I'm going to sit here and we'll just have a chat with whoever is with us, and we'll discuss like water testing, and I'll probably do some water testing on my tanks throughout the stream as well. And we'll just have a bit of a general chat about fish keeping and things like that. So this is not the first live stream I've done, but the first of the Fish Club. So we'll just see how it goes today. Good afternoon, Flames. How are you? 11 p.m. in Australia. And you've been waiting all day for this. Well, I am flattered by that, my friend. I am flattered by that. It's nice to see. But yes, I am here now. Hopefully you can see me. So yeah, we're going to discuss water tests. All of them, really. Especially, I'd like to see. Hi, Flames. Good to see you. How are you doing, buddy? I'd like to see what everybody's thoughts are on KH and GH, because it's from what I see, some people bother with the KH and the GH, and some people don't bother with it. So it'd be nice to see what everyone does that joins us today. I'm armed up with a coffee. I think I'm prepared for everything. I do have a laptop at the side of me as well, just in case I need it. But I think we're all good. Can't believe you've waited all day, mate, for my live stream. I've had a really busy morning as well, because of, as you may have known, on Saturday I had a bit of a problem with a washing machine. So I've been trying to sort out the washing machine today, and yeah, it's just been a busy morning. 11 at night, mate. That's I know, mate. I'd be really, really tired and ready for bed at that time. So what have you been doing today, Flames? Thanks, Ian. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy your cup of tea. I have just made a nice cup of coffee, and here we go. Flames, I'm really flattered, mate. I'm really flattered that you've stayed up, and yeah, it means a lot, mate. It really does. Just got to school. Oh no! Oh, don't be falling asleep. Don't be falling asleep during class, mate, and blaming me. I don't need that on my conscience. But I'm still glad you're here. So I take it you've got fish, do you, Flames? Yeah. And what kind of do you do water testing and things like that? First day back after the holidays. Oh, it's always the worst day, that as well, mate, isn't it? I've just got 2 weeks off work now, and I know it's going to fly. It's that first day back, isn't it? It's horrible. And the night before the first day back is even worse. So yeah, guys, we are going to be discussing water testing today. I'd like to know what everyone thinks about testing your waters. Are we wasting our money testing things like KH and GH? Or is it important? I know it is important for the things like ammonia, nitrite and nitrate, and your pH, obviously. What are people's thoughts on this? Where I live in Manchester, it's a bit mixed whether people actually do test the KH and GH, and it's debatable whether some people actually add buffers to the water to get their KH and GH correct, because they have a belief that, or I say a lot of people have the belief that because they've been bred in like our waters locally and farmed, then the water you don't have to adjust. But do you have to adjust it? I do adjust mine, as you'll see on my live streams on a Saturday afternoon. Oh, Oscars, mate. Oscars is something I've never had. It's something I've never had, but they're a beautiful fish, aren't they? And do grow quite large. Manchester, mate. So, Manchester. Well, what can I say about Manchester? It's a great place. It used to be a lot better than what it is now. The weather's not great. In fact, it's just before I came on stream today, my central heating came on. So that says just how cold it is in Manchester today. But as I was saying, regarding like the water, I'm in quite a soft water area, and I do test my source water regularly, and it's 0 kh, 0 gh. So I add buffers to that. But there's a lot of people don't add buffers to, and I always find my fish health deteriorates if I don't add buffers. But I'd just like to know what people do think of that. Logan, yes, you can be a moderator, mate. You can. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Don't know how to do it though, mate. I don't know how to make you a moderator. Just one sec. Add as a moderator. Oh, there you go. There you go, mate. Yeah, cheers for offering that, buddy. Yeah, I really appreciate that. But yeah, you should be able to be moderator now, mate. I think I've set it. On a Saturday afternoon, we'll be watching United. Well, we've seen United recently, mate. Jesus, I'd rather be watching paint dry, to be perfectly honest. Terrible at the moment, United, buddy. And I'm actually Bury, and I know Bury have had a bit of a rough few years because he kind of got disbanded, but they have come back. But they are proper lower league now. I think they're actually bottom league, as far as I'm aware. Thanks, Jedi Knight. Really do appreciate you being here today. But yeah, mate, I used to watch a lot of United. I did. But nowadays, I just don't really get time. And I'll be honest, it's expensive, isn't it? It's just expensive just to watch them on TV. And in all fairness, over the past few years, I've kind of worked all the weekends, so football's kind of drifted away from me a little bit, to be honest, mate. I do love Oscars, mate. I do. I've never had them, though, Flames. I've never had them. I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest. I don't know what kind of water conditions they need and all that. Yeah, mate, you can. Flames. There you go, Flames. That's sorted. Cheers, buddy. Thanks for this. It will help out, obviously, because I'm hoping that this fish club thing kind of takes off, and it may move more later in the evenings. We'll still do the Saturday. We'll turn that into the Saturday. We'll turn into a fish club anyway, but I'll just be doing my usual maintenance on the tanks, and then we'll take it from there. But yeah, we'll keep up the fish club. But it's good that you're offering to be moderator. Cheers, buddy. Good afternoon, Shari. Thank you for joining us today. New to the fish scene and interested in the science behind testing. Yeah, mate, this is what I want to discuss today. So it's quite an interesting topic because obviously you're testing for ammonia, the nitrites and the nitrates. That goes without saying. You need to be testing for them regularly. I am quite interested in people's thoughts on testing for KH and GH because that's just a bit of a crazy topic, to be perfectly honest. A lot of people don't test for it, and a lot of people do test for it. I add buffers to my water just so because I have no KH, 0 KH, 0 GH. But I know the KH, when you add a buffer to for KH buffer, what that does is help regulate your pH. So I know if you're not putting it in and it's 0 around, you are risking getting like really bad drops in your pH and things like that. Is that lag on your end, mate, or is it? The shirts are going to be on sale pretty soon, mate. Yeah. So the girl that I got to do this for me, she's just having a bit of a supplier issue. But I'm hoping that the shirts will come on sale hopefully within the next month, hopefully. And I was going to have some black cups printed with BGN Aquariums as well and get them on the shop as well. But sadly, the girl who wanted to do the cups can't print on black cups. So I'm going to have to kind of like redesign my thoughts for the cups, because I don't think the BGN logo on the cup, on a white cup, would actually look as good as what it would have done on a black cup. So I do need to have a bit of a play about. But yeah, hopefully soon the t-shirts will go on the shop, and I'll try and get some more designed as well. I do need to kind of hopefully get in touch with like a graphic designer to design me a better logo for the BGN, like, you know, from a BGN Aquariums, rather than just having like a Bozeman rainbow fish. Maybe just, I don't know, a little bit of a better design going on there, and then I can get a t-shirt made out of that as well. But yeah, the shirts hopefully within the next month with a bit of luck. What's the most common fish disease? Well, a lot of people talk white spot, don't they, mate? And ick. Thanks, Plug. Thanks for joining us today. But yeah, ick, really, isn't it? White spot. It's probably one of your most common, really. And fin rot. But if you're keeping your water parameters good, then you're trying to evade that a little bit, don't you? I'm not quite sure, Flames, how much I'll charge for the t-shirts at the moment, because, like, so the t-shirt I've had this printed on, this t-shirt cost me like £11, I think it was. I think it was £11 just for the t-shirt, and then I had it printed on. But I had it printed on this t-shirt because it's a good quality t-shirt, and that's the thing. So all I'll say is I don't know what the price will be because I've not costed it out yet, and I know I'm not quite sure how much YouTube actually take out of what, you know, they'll take their cut as well. So I'm not sure how much that is. But all I'll say is they may be, say, round about £20. I'm not quite sure what that'll be in dollars, and then plus postage. But I'm not quite sure on the price, but I will tell you now, the quality will be spot on. Because I wear these t-shirts anyway, and I ordered the black one and had this logo put on it. And the quality of these t-shirts are brilliant. They don't shrink, they don't twist. So all I'll say is if they are a little bit expensive for a t-shirt, they will be good quality. So, water testing, guys. Are you still with us, Flames? I've just seen a load of people drop out and just making sure everything's all right. Just going to anyone who's watching, can they just let us know is the quality okay, or is there a bit of lag? Because if there's a bit of lag, if it's like a bit jittery, I'll turn my laptop off. Oh, thank you, Lavosa. Thank you for letting us know. That's good. That's good, because I kind of I've got the laptop running as well, just in case. Oh, thank you, Ian. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Just loads of people dropped out, and someone had put that there was lag before, so good to know that there's not. So, Lavosa, I take it you are a fish keeper, mate. And what kind of fish do you keep if you are a fish keeper? Today we want to try and discuss a little bit about water quality and water testing. So you've heard of fin rot, but you've never heard of white spot. So white spot, you may have heard of ICH, commonly known now as ick, mate, to be perfectly honest. But I'm an old man, and when I first got into the hobby, it was known as white spot. But yeah, ick, it's just like these little white spots. And it can be quite devastating. It can spread throughout your tank like wildfire. So it's always good to have white spot or ick treatment at hand. But fin rot's another one, isn't it? Fin rot's not good either. It's not a great one to start having in your tank. So it's always good. I have quite a few different medications available just in case I need. I tend to use quite a lot of Melifix because of the tea tree oil, and I kind of use that quite a lot and I think it's because of the smell. Really, it puts a nice smell into my lounge. If I put a dose of it in a couple of the bigger tanks, it adds a nice smell. So how are you doing, the plug? You are a fish keeper, I take it. Where are you at the moment? Are you in the UK or whereabouts in the world are you? Hi, Shari, thank you. How often do you water change and what do you recommend? Okay, mate. So I have 4 tanks in here and they all kind of get done a little bit different. So it's quite a good question and it kind of covers quite a few different things, really. So on a Saturday afternoon when I do my live stream, I always do the water change on my rainbow fish tank and my angel fish tank, which is the one behind me. So the rainbow fish tank gets done weekly, about 40% of the water volume. I drop it and I just do it through, I have a hose pipe and I just do it through siphon the water out through the hose pipe and then I attach the hose pipe to the tap and I put it back in. I put it back in at quite a slow rate as not to shock the fish, but it only really drops the temperature by a couple of degrees anyway. So it's not a massive drop in temperature doing it that way. And like I say, I do 40% every week. The angelfish tank, I do 3 of my 4 tanks weekly. The angelfish tank gets a regular 10% water change every week. But sometimes the angelfish are spawning and they tend to spawn more at the top of the water. So some weeks I may just miss out on doing a water change. So the week after they'll just get a 20%. But yeah, I work out around about 10% per week for the angelfish tank. And then I have a CO2 tank which has celestial pearl danios in there. And I do that gets a 10%. I do that off camera though, because with it having CO2 being delivered into it, the CO2 comes on at 10 o'clock because the lights come on at 11. So I always do a 10% water change on that before 10 o'clock. So when the water goes in, obviously then it gets CO2 delivered to the water. There's no point putting CO2 into the water and then doing a water change, just wasting your money. And then I have a shrimp tank that is more of a top up than a water change. And every now and again, I'll just do a little 10% water change on that. But I do weekly. The plants all get a daily fertilizer as well, apart from the CO2 tank, which is every other day. So yeah, water changes, I do highly recommend. I know a lot of people don't do water changes, but yeah, I do recommend water changes. Especially, it depends on what fish you've got as well. The rainbow fish require massive water changes and they benefit from that loads because they colour up so much, you know. So yeah, mate, hopefully that covers your question a little bit there. The water's crystal clear even with all those plants. I know, mate, my water is clear. I do have a video on how I keep my water crystal clear, and it is mainly to do with filter floss being the last thing that the water goes through in my canister filter is filter floss, and it just helps polish that water and keep it that crystal clear. There's no tricks. It's just filter floss, really. Good filtration. Josh, thanks for joining us today, buddy. Nice to see you back. And day 3 of the 55 tank. Oh, mate, how's it going? How's that going? Is it going well? Good morning, Josh. Thanks for joining us, mate. I hope it is nice in Michigan today. Are you on Instagram and that, Josh? It'd be nice to see some photos if you could whip them over to me on Instagram. That'd be great. Thanks, Plug. Yeah, so you're in London. Nice, mate. And crayfish. To be honest, mate, I wouldn't mind a crayfish. To be honest, I do follow a guy on YouTube, and he's a bit of a shrimp guy, but he's just got a crayfish, and I kind of want him to do more videos on it because they're quite interesting, aren't they? I have a thing for shrimp as well. It's just there's something different, aren't they, in the aquarium, I suppose. Dragon snakes. Wow, mate. Right, so I'm like this with snakes. I don't think I'd want to keep snakes, but they don't freak me out when I'm in the pet shop looking at them. So, whereas spiders do. Even looking at a spider picture of one on my phone freaks me out. So, yeah, I'm a bit like that. I don't really know where I stand with snakes because I've never touched one, and I suppose touching them is whether you're scared of them or not, isn't it? No problem, Shari. I'm hoping that this fish club, this live fish club, is going to be full of information off everybody, really, not just me. I'm hoping, as the community grows, there's going to be people that know things. Like at the moment, we've earlier on in the chat, we've got Flames in, and he's after Oscars. So I've never had Oscars, so it'll be nice in time. If someone comes on and they're like, "Oh, I've got Oscars and I don't know what's going on," then like Flames might be, "Oh, I've had this problem," and then he can jump in and go, and help out. And I have just made him a moderator as well, so I know he's going to be like hanging around. So that's good to know. It's hopefully that's how I want this stream to grow. I want it to be a fish club, an online fish club is where I'm hoping it goes to. So information, as much of it as possible from everybody, is going to be really appreciated. So, Josh, today we are discussing like water quality and water testing and things like that. So we all kind of know we have to test our pH regular, and obviously our ammonia and nitrite and nitrates. Do you test for KH and GH as well, mate? Now I do, because obviously everyone knows my water quality is like my source water is 0 KH, 0 GH. So I do add a buffer. But a lot of people say you don't have to. And it's just like, it's these kind of moments here now where we've got this community growing, where we can find out what everyone else does and, and see, are we wasting our money buying these buffers, or are we not wasting our money? Are they needed? I don't know. It'd be nice to see what everyone else thinks. I know, mate. Yeah, pump corrosion pumps are a nightmare, though, aren't they? I have actually just got a really good pump, fluval one, and it's been, I say just got it, it's been like running a year now, and I don't hear it. And it's on the rainbow tank. It's a fluval one. I can't think which one it is, but after this, I'll have a look and I'll pin a link. I'll pin it in the comments of which one it is. I have just seen that one of my mates has just come on there. Good afternoon, Ron. Hope you are good, mate. Oh, it's 6:30 in the morning there. I hope you're well, mate. I did check out one of your videos earlier on. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good. So, Plug, what water do I use? I just use my straight up tap water. I deliver it into each tank straight from the tap as well. In the summer, I can get away with doing it a little bit faster rate. In the winter, I do kind of slow that rate down a little bit just as not to shock the fish. But yeah, mate, mine straight out the tap. My tap water tests it's about 6.8 on the pH. It's a 0 KH and it's 0 GH. So I'm not really sure what RO water tests at, but to me, that's pretty much neutral. I don't really know. I don't know, but I do add a buffer to my water. But no, mate, it's just straight up tap water, straight from the tap. And I've done that for years and it's never caused me any problems. Some people, on the first stream I did, some people were like, no way, do you deliver water straight from your tap? But never had a problem with it. Like I say, in the winter, I might deliver it a little bit slower and I will have like a bucket of hot water available just in case that temperature drops. But I've done it that long, I don't drop the temperature that much. Yeah, Ron. Yeah, mate. I'm good, buddy. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I've had a bit of a busy morning with my trying to sort my washing machine out because obviously I had a problem with that on Saturday morning. Mate. Yes, yeah. Well, plug. I think you did say you was down London before. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah, I know the water's proper hard down there, isn't it? So how do you deal with that, plug? How do you deal with your water quality in down London where it is really hard? Because like we used to holiday in Kent years ago and the water is proper chalky, isn't it? It's really, really chalky water. And how do you deal with that regarding fish? So what fish do you ever consider what fish you keep in that, or do you use RO water? So Ron, what's your GH, Ron, is 180. Wow, mate, honestly, that's mad, isn't it? Because my tanks are round, my GH tends to be round about 5. That's kind of where I keep it at. And it's pretty much the same with my KH, to be perfectly honest. My pH tends to be round about 6.8 to 7. So it all kind of hangs just where it should be. I know, mate. See, I can keep. It's weird, isn't it? See, this is the thing, isn't it? So Ron, you're keeping neocaridina in that kind of water, and I keep neocaridina in soft water. So isn't it proper strange? Whereas if I get caridina shrimp, forget the B shrimp, they don't last 2 minutes because you do need to do RO water and then make that water perfect for them. Blows my head off with the KH and the GH. It really does. I do. So Biotopol, is that Shari? Is that a water conditioner? Because I do add water conditioner to the. I do add the dechlorinator and things like that. One thing I don't do is add beneficial bacteria when I do a water change because I think my tanks have been running long enough that they don't need that addition of beneficial bacteria. And I get away with it. So if it's not fixed, if it's not broken, don't fix it, innit? And it works for me, but what works for me not work for everyone people. Hence why this fish club's going to be a great thing because we can see what other people do. Like we've got Ron now, he keeps neocaridina shrimp in water with 180 GH, and I keep neocaridina in water which pretty much is 0 GH in there because I don't change any of the water in my shrimp tank. So it's like it's crazy how things are so different with GH and KH. They tell us what we're supposed to be at, but so many people just keep them wherever and get away with it. And it just makes you think: is it really that important, or is it just a scam to make you buy more, like buffers and things like that. What do you think, Ron, regarding KH and GH? Do you think it's a scam because they sell buffers and they tell you need to do it? Because it varies so much. There's a difference there with like our shrimp. I keep it in like a 0 GH and you keep them in 180 GH. So what's your thought of it, mate? Do you believe that the KH and GH thing is a myth that people jump on and spend loads of money? So, Plug, you use RO water, right? And then you have to just like mess about with it. So your plants, even your garden plants, don't like the tap water. Oh my God, that's amazing, isn't it? But I have actually heard that recently, mate, because I recently lost my little boy. I recently lost my cat, and I've never really been able to have houseplants in here because he used to chew the leaves, and he destroyed a yucca plant overnight. He turned a yucca plant into a plant with a load of grass leaves overnight. He must have spent all bloody night doing it, to be perfectly honest. So since he's passed away, I've bought a few houseplants, and bought one. I've had it on my windowsill, and I was talking to a guy on Instagram, and I was asking him about it, and he was like, don't feed them tap water because they hate tap water. So I do feed all my houseplants tank water, and they thrive off it. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, how some plants can't handle it. You use lemon kick, it removes chlorine. Yeah, I use, I do have at the moment, I'm using a fluval dechlorinator in a different tub because it's got a squirty bottle on it. It just makes life easier. Mate, I'm joining you today, Ron. So when you, on Saturday, when you said you was making a cup of coffee, mate, I got proper jealous. So I have decided that the coffee was definitely a good idea, and I made one just before I came on. But now it's going cold, but I have got a glass of water down there as well. Good afternoon, Sad Shiriari. Is it Shiriari? Hi, and thanks for joining us today, and even more, thanks for subscribing to the channel. That is really, really kind of you. If anybody who's watching at the moment hasn't subbed to the channel, it'd be a great time just to do so. And if you can click on the like button as well, it just helps grow the channel so much. I am trying to get a few more people to join this live fish club, which is going to be on a Saturday afternoon. So the fish club, I'm planning, okay, so I'm off work for the next 2 weeks. So I'm planning to do a fish club around about 2 o'clock on the afternoon. Today, obviously, Wednesday and Friday, and then the week after, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, as well as obviously my usual Saturday afternoon live stream. But we are going to change it up a little bit. The Saturday afternoon thing is still going to be me doing my water changes and talking to you guys as I do them, and then we'll have a chat. But yeah, I want to try and make it more into a fish club where everybody here can join in with the chat and answer people's questions. I don't know everything about fish, obviously. Like, we've got Flames in here at the moment, and he's going to be taking on some Oscars, and I've never had Oscars, so I wouldn't be able to advise him on that. But as the community grows, we're going to end up with people who do have Oscars or have had Oscars in the past that can obviously then advise him, and then over time, then he'll be able to advise other people. So we're kind of hoping that we grow this Fish Club Live to be a really good, strong community for everybody. So thanks for joining us, Shiari, and that's kind of hoping that's where we're going to take the live side of this channel too. And check out some of my videos as well. Got some great videos going on at the moment. This week's video is about euthanasia in the fish world, or in the aquarium world, and quite a frowned upon topic. So it'd be good You need to, like, if you don't know how people euthanize fish, some of it's like crazy how people do it. And we discusses quite a few different methods, and then the last method is the only method that's recommended by the RSPCA. So it's worth watching because it's quite some are frightening. Some I don't know how some people do it. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Ron, I'm the same, mate. I see. When I got into this hobby years ago, we would never even considered KH or GH at all, Ron. It was something that we never had to take into account. And now it's everywhere. And you just think, well, if we didn't have to do it years ago, why do we have to do it now? And then people say, well, water's changed since the 1980s. So yeah, that's kind of what I'd like to see, what everybody's thoughts on buffers and KH and GH are today, because it's one of those, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you're adding it to your tank and it works and it's working for you, then you're not going to change it, are you? You're not going to say, oh, I'm going to stop doing that, because I did. I thought, I'm going to do a little test, and I stopped adding KH and GH buffer to my aquarium. And for the first 2 months, it was okay. But then I started seeing some of the rainbows were going thin, and so I started adding it again. So I do believe that you do need to take into consideration your KH and GH. That's my opinion, because I do. But like I say, a lot of people think you don't have to. So it'd be nice just to see what people think. Yes, Ron, I agree. My house plants thrive off fish tank water, and I tell you what else as well that plants love, mate. Coffee grounds. If you sprinkle coffee grounds on your soil and then just water, oh my God, mate! Honestly, your garden ends up like a forest. They do love it. It's crazy. Good afternoon, Bonsai Man. Thanks for joining us today. So the setup behind me is an Aqua One 300 litre fully planted aquarium. It's currently housing 2 breeding pairs of angelfish, and well, there's 6 angelfish in there altogether. 2 of them are breeding pairs. There's 5 plecos in there. 2 starlight plecos, male and a female. There is a green phantom pleco in there, and I think that there's 2 gold nugget plecos in there as well. I have put 2 gold nugget plecos in there. I've just not seen them since December last year. Just never see them. So, and in that, filtration wise, I do have an FX4 running in there, and in the little back corner there, I do have an internal filter as well, just running to get the flow a little bit more. Because in this tank here, mate, I don't know if you can see there, but there's quite a few caves. So there's 9 caves in total, so it needs a bit of flow just to make sure that the caves don't no detritus settles in there. And lights, it's fluval plant lights. And then on the other tank over there, which I'm not going to move for long, mate, but so that's my rainbow fish aquarium, and in that it's a fluval tank, and it's 240 litres, and the filtration system on that is a fluval 307, and it's got 2 fluval plant lights in there, and then I do have a CO2 tank running over the other side of the room, which I'm going to do a build video on that pretty soon. That'll be coming out. So I don't really want to show that much, because that's obviously going to be hopefully a good video that I'll launch on YouTube. And then I have a little shrimp tank as well, which just has a sponge filter in there. I hope that kind of covers your question there. Good afternoon, Soft Taco. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you are well. Cheers, Ron. I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy the vacation. I just want to try and promote my YouTube as much as possible, mate, to be perfectly honest. I've kind of set myself a target to get that watch hours to where it needs to be before Christmas. That's kind of what I need to do. I could just do with a few more people watching my videos, you know, just as we all do, mate. The channel's growing. I just want it to grow now and grow. I've put a lot of work into this channel, so I just want it to grow as much as I possibly can. You sound like the Onion Knight. Say J-Bo. I don't know who the Onion Knight is, mate, but thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, plug. Sorry, the plug. It's a great source of water. How I do it when I do my filter cleans, I let the water settle, I take a load of the water out, and then I pour that into a 5-litre tub. And then when I use it, I just shake it up. It's got loads of fish poop in it, obviously, as you know, what the water's like. And I water my plants with that. So you're getting the nutrients from the fish poop, you're getting the nutrients from the fertilizers that you feed your fish plant, your aquatic plants with. It's a win-win, and the house plants thrive on it. Like I say, coffee grounds is something else. Creative Kid, thanks for joining us today. What is my most expensive fish? Okay, so the most expensive fish that I've got at the moment is probably my 2 Starlight plecos. They cost me £75 each when I got them. I'd say probably the most expensive fish that I've ever bought was I bought a blue panac. That cost me like £90. And it's a sore subject because I bought the blue panac and put it into my tank. Within a few days, everything in the tank died, including the blue panac. So yeah, it wiped out about £2,000 worth of fish. So I wasn't exactly so happy about that, mate. But yeah, I think the most expensive fish I own at the moment are these Starlight plecos, which are like 75 each. And I'm hoping I've got male and female, so I'm kind of hoping that they breed. And then you never know, might be able to pass a few on. No problem, Ron. It's been. I'm glad you've joined us today, mate. I hope your doctor's appointment goes well, and I'll speak to you soon regarding doing that shared live as well, buddy. We'll get a bit of a thing going for a time that suits us both, especially not 6:30 in the morning for you. So yeah, hope everything's well, mate. Anyway, with the doctors, take care, buddy. That guy again, something smells fishy. It certainly does, mate. It certainly does. Fish keeping and fishing. Thanks for joining us today, and hello. Hope you're well. Where are you in the world, buddy? So we've got Australians in here today. We've got Americans. I'm here, Manchester in the UK. We've got London, UK. We're all over the world today. Anne-Marie Jensen, thank you for joining us today, and good morning to you. Hope that San Francisco is a lot warmer than what Manchester is today, because Manchester is quite cold today. I hope you are well, and thank you for joining. Josh, how long has it been like that, mate? Are you intending on, is that because you want it green, or is it just gone green? Because if it's gone green like that, mate, it's going to be a total blackout for a week or so. You don't do enough water changes. Is it just on the grass? On the glass? The green then, Josh, is it? Or have you got a green water issue? I think Ron's just gone because Ron's been growing green water. In fact, I would like to know why he was growing, why he wanted green water. I don't know what he was doing it for. Yeah, hang on the back filters. You got to watch them though, mate, aren't they? They kind of scare me, those, because they can leak, can't they? Quite. And you don't want leaking water anywhere, do you? You too, Ron. Have a good evening, buddy. Or have a good day, mate. I hope your doctor's appointment goes well, mate. Fish keeping and fishing. Can your Corys go with a pleco? Don't see why not, mate. I have 5 plecos in this tank, and I've got about 20 Corys in there, and there's not a problem, mate. They do occupy round about the same area, but if you've got wood, your plecos tend to hang around on the wood because they do like a bit of wood in the diet. It's like, that's what gets me with my golden nugget plecos. I haven't seen them since December, but there's loads of wood in here, so I'd expect to see at least one now and again, and I haven't seen any. But I've never had an ammonia spike to say that they may have died in one of the caves, so I don't know. Plecos, I know they are elusive, but you'd expect to see them at least once in a year, wouldn't you? So fish keeping, are you in France, mate? Nice. So we are branching out all over the world today. I hope you're enjoying your day, mate, and I hope the weather's good as well. Sure, in Manchester. The weather is nasty, mate. I'm just out on the outskirts of Manchester, mate. I'm in Bury, and my central heating came on for the first time today. Just as I came on stream, my central heating came on. So it just goes to show how cold Manchester is today. It's not good. Can't afford for me heating to come back, to be honest, as you well know. Not a problem, fish keeping. Oh, keep well, buddy. Keep well. Oh, Haywood, Shorey. Oh, you're not too far then, mate. Yeah, I'm just in Bury, mate. So I grew up in Hollins, actually, mate. It's Hollins, Unsworth, not Hollins, Middleton. So yeah, next village along, mate. So good to know we've got some locals in here as well. So what do you keep, Shorey? Do you keep fish as well, buddy? Good afternoon, Pickles Rick. I have loving it, mate. Texas, that's another great place. Oh, mate, it's just we're all over the world today. We've got quite a few people in from all over. It's really good to see. Worldwide Fish Club. How good would that be? Where that's kind of where I want it to grow it to, guys. I want it a worldwide fish club with just a hive of information. That'd be absolutely brilliant. I have seen videos, mate, where people don't use filters, and I know a lot of people will use the plants as a filter because the plants are a brilliant filtration system, and I know you can get away with it if you don't stock your tanks too much. Now, I've got to admit, I probably do slightly overstock my tanks, but they are heavily filtrated with the plants and with the filtration that I have running in all my tanks. So I get away with like probably overstocking a little bit just because of the filtration. But I think if you're not running filtration, then you do need to limit the amount of fish you've got in there. Otherwise, that water just goes stagnant. And I'll be honest, I still believe that you'd need to add some kind of air pump to that just to keep the water moving as well. It's not something I've ever done, but you never know in the future. But it's something I'd have to research a lot into as well first. No filter. I'd still think though that you'd need, like I say, air running just to circulate the water. So Shari, you've got a better and some neons. Nice, mate. Nice. I have had a couple of betters. And I don't know. I'm not that successful with betters, to be perfectly honest. Don't know why. I had a better for a couple of years in my last tank, and then I've had a couple since in smaller tanks, and they've just not done well for me at all. But they are beautiful, aren't they? And you can. It's just a shame that you can't have more than one. Can you imagine a tank full of betters if they didn't fight? How beautiful that'd be. I don't know, Pickles Rick. I don't have any long-standing non-filtered, mate. Everything in my place is filtered. But yeah, it's something I maybe look at in the future. But at the moment, I'm kind of struggling for space. Yeah, sure. You only find out, mate, don't you? I don't know what it was with me, mate. I set up a small tank and I set it up, planted, looked really good. Set up just as I set up all my tanks. But for the first 6 months, everything just kind of like struggled, and so it was a bit of a mad one, really. I ended up breaking it down and starting again because nothing was living in there. It was like, I don't know what it was. It was a bit of a weird one, really. But yeah, I ended up having to restart. You've not had a better since you were little, and have you not, Pickles Rick? No, they're beautiful, aren't they? You do see some stunning ones as well. I went into a Maidenhead Aquatics in Cheshire last year, and they had this better. And if I'd have had a tank set up for a better, I would have took it because it was gold. And oh my God, it was stunning. It was absolutely stunning. But, and it was like £25. So you just like, oh my God, it was spectacular. But say I don't know if it's my water around here or what. I don't really know, but I do struggle with betters. But they are absolutely beautiful fish, aren't they? Right, mate. I have fish keeping. So how can I stop my angels from biting my guppies? To be perfectly honest, mate, they're not really a compatible fish, really. Your angels by name, just not by nature. And they can be quite placid angelfish until it comes to spawning. And for a few days before spawning, when they're cleaning off an area, they're going to come quite aggressive. I know this because I have two breeding pairs of angels here, and when they're getting ready to spawn, they do come quite aggressive, and nothing goes near them. With your guppies being quite fancy, your angels are always just going to nip away at them anyway, mate. So they're not exactly a compatible fish. You kind of have to watch what you put with angelfish, in my opinion. Some people do mix them with like rainbow fish, which I have, but I've just seen how angelfish are when it's spawning, how aggressive they become, and yeah, it's they're not good. Angels by name, not by nature, for sure. But yeah, the only way you're going to stop that, mate, is separating your guppies into another tank, unfortunately. Pickles Rick, do I have any bloodworm tanks? I don't, mate. No, I do have a brine shrimp hatchery, though. Bloodworm tanks, you know what? It's something I've never looked into, but I don't know if I'd be able to do it, mate. They don't freak me out. I use bloodworm. I use frozen bloodworm, and when I can get live bloodworm, I use live as well. But I don't like the smell of it. The smell of bloodworm, oh God, it knocks me sick. So I'd have to, if I wanted to do bloodworm tanks, I'd have to make sure that you don't get a smell off it first. So you want to make one, but you want to do one for the night crawlers. Well, mate, yeah, try. Hey, let us know how you go on with that as well, buddy. Say I do have a brine shrimp hatchery, but I feed them as baby brine shrimp. I don't grow them out, which maybe is something I could look at, is growing them out. Something I'd have to look into, obviously, because I wouldn't know where to start. Ah, mate, yeah. So I've got the Fluval Spec 60 litre. So I think it's like the same kind of model as the Fluval Flex Shore, and they are a brilliant setup. I'd say for you, better just make sure that the flow's not too powerful for them, because I know they like it quite still, don't they? But Yeah, them fluval flexes are great, mate. I've just rescaped my fluval spec 60 litre. It's I've got CO2 running in there. That's my experiment tank, so I'm experimenting with CO2 in that, and they're a great little piece of kit, to be perfectly honest, and great price, which is obviously more important than anything nowadays. Yeah, mate. So you on about the bloodworm, using the bloodworm as food? Fine, mate, innit? Just make sure you kind of rinse them off first. But your fish will go mad for bloodworm, mate. They kind of love it. Mine go mad for everything, though, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, you should be able to, mate. Yeah, you shouldn't be a problem. Should be okay to use them as bait. Not a problem there, mate. So pickles, Rick, you want an axolotl? That's another thing I've never had. To be honest, I'd never heard of them until a couple of years ago, and but I believe it was a Minecraft thing, was it, that's brought axolotls into the mix, I believe. But yeah, I know there's some great videos on YouTube. Fish keeping in the UK, Fish Keeping Answers. He does a great video on axolotls, mate. Might be worth having a look at that. Fish Keeping Answers, Richard at Fish Keeping Answers. Brilliant, mate. I said Fish Keeping in the UK because it's a Facebook group that I'm a member of, and I do like exclusive videos for them. Been chatting with him today about a video regarding euthanasia. I've done a video on my channel, guys, regarding euthanasia and fish, and it kind of goes through a few different methods that people use and think it's okay, and a majority of them aren't. And then the last method is the only method that's recommended by the RSPCA to euthanize a fish. So if you haven't seen that video, it is well worth checking out. And for those people that are in here at the moment, if you could subscribe to the channel, that'd be fantastic, guys, and click that like button. It just helps out loads. So you just watched a video on a fish convention. I know I'd like to do a fish convention, actually, mate. I would like to go to that Aquashella, though, to be perfectly honest. Oh, in some time. It's kind of out of reach of my pocket at the moment, but it would be nice to go to an Aquashella in America, especially one like California or something like that. If anyone wants to pay for me to go on a trip to Aquashella, California. 2 weeks, though, then, obviously. Was that on YouTube, that pickles weight, was it? Might have to have a look at that if it's interesting. Yeah, mate. Yeah, sure. A flow tube will help. It will cut down the flow dramatically. I do love betters, mate. They're awesome. They're beautiful fish, aren't they? And they all have their own little character as well. I used to have one years ago, and I had this wood, and it kind of looked like part of it looked like a skull of a monkey. It was weird. And it had like a mouth and 2 eyes. And at night, the better used to sleep in one of the eyes. It was like his bed, and it was great. You'd see him as the lights started going out, just before the lights would go off. You could see him tucking himself into this little hole where he was going to have a kip all night. It was really good, really good. 100-gallon for your guppies, mate. You'll end up with loads of guppies in a 100-gallon tank, mate. Especially if you've got males and females, then you're just looking at making pure money out of them, mate, as well. So yeah, 100 gallons probably overkill for a load. You'd be better off putting your rainbows in the 100-gallon, mate, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, mate. Yeah, if pickles work, yeah, if you could find the link, and maybe if you're on Instagram, that's probably the best one. If you're on Instagram, mate, if you can send me that link through a DM. And it's the same. It's BGN Aquariums on there as well, mate. So yeah, it'd be great if you could send them through. Really like that. Fish keeping and fishing. You've got a pleco and a 5-gallon. Got too big, so I put it in a lake. Wow. So where are you, mate? Are you France? You're France, aren't you? Yeah. So yeah, I suppose. Can you get away with that in France? In the UK, we have quite a lot of terrapins and things like that in our canals, which a lot of people don't know. But if you fish the canals, then you might just know that you've got terrapins. Sorry, guys, I do move about a lot. So I hurt my back in work a couple of years ago, and it still hurts when I sit down. So I have to keep moving the cushion. Don't fall out of vans, guys. It hurts. That's what I'm thinking, Lavosa. Is that allowed? Is that allowed fish keeping, or have you just like pulled a sneaky one? Because, like I say, in the UK, I know we do have quite a lot of terrapins in the canals, and there's like there's a little lodge that I used to fish on years ago, and there's a 5 pound in weight terrapin in there, and you know when you've got it because you feel like you've landed a stone, and all you can do is just bounce it on the bottom. You kind of got to cut free from it, and because it is barbel sucks, so there's nothing much you can do. And I was also warned that you can get what's it called? Salmonella. I think you can get salmonella from terrapins as well. That's always one to watch out for. I hope fish keeping and fishing's still in. I'd like to know what the score is, because you're in France, aren't you? Fish keeping, so don't know. Do they have plecos in the water systems there anyway? Because I know you have quite a lot of catfish and things like that, don't you? And like some massive catfish. So I know they go quite large. So Lavosa, where are you then? Where are you, buddy? I know there's quite a lot of koi and goldfish in the ponds and lakes around the UK. I know that. As for plecos, I don't really think a pleco would survive a UK winter, to be perfectly honest. But fish keeping and fishing was in France. Not quite sure whether a pleco would survive a French winter. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one, that, isn't it? I'd like to know though. I'm hoping he's not gone. I'm hoping he can shine a bit of a light on that, what he said he did. So. Hi Maria, thanks for joining us today. The angels are big. Yeah, you know, they're about 3.5 to 4 inches now, my biggest one. And there is 2 breeding pairs in there. So they keep the tank quite on their fins, if you will. Just trying to make sure I've not missed anyone's comments on here today. I don't think I have. So we're kind of hoping today. I've just started with having fish. Ah, Maria, so you've just started with fish. So what fish are you starting with there, buddy? What have you started off with, and what size tank? Have you gone small or have you gone big for your first one? The smaller ones are a little bit harder to keep as as what bigger ones are, which you'd think bigger tanks would be harder to keep, but bigger tanks kind of look after themselves. Smaller tanks are what you really do need to keep your eye on. But yeah, let us know what fish you've started off with, or have you not actually got to that point yet? Have you just setting up a tank and you've not actually got any fish yet? So sure, if a cleanup crew for your better tank. Right. So the first answer I'll say, it depends on your better. I'll be honest with you, it does depend on your better, this one. So I'm a big lover of Amano shrimp, and I do think they do a great job. And I'm always, if I see Amano shrimp, I tend to buy 8 or 10 of them and throw them in, and just separate them and throw them in my tanks. I can't do that as much now with the angel tank and the rainbow tank, because angels will eat them and the rainbows will eat them as well. So you'd have to watch. Now I say you have to watch with your better, mate, because so what I do, once you've got your better, maybe like get a couple of Amano shrimp. Just watch, because they are jumpers, Amano shrimp. So just watch, but and try them. Now your better may not bother with them, and if he doesn't bother with them, then you can throw more in there, and you can get like another 10 and get them in there, and they're going to do a great job for you. But there is a chance your better may eat them. But this depends on your better, because they all have different personalities. Some will just leave shrimp alone, and some will munch on them. So yeah, you just have to judge that. After that, Otto Sinkless. I love Otto Sinkless. In a small 58-litre tank, I'd say 4 Otto Sinkless will probably easily be enough. Just make sure, just keep an eye on them, because Otto Sinkless are quite a ferocious eater of algae. So just make sure that they're not going thin. If they're going thin with 4 in there, then just throw an algae wafer in there from time to time for them to munch on, or a little bit of cucumber. My Otto Sinkless like a bit of cucumber. But yeah, Otto Sinkless are a good one. Snails, depending on, snails are a bit of a thing, because if you get female snails, they leave white eggs everywhere, and I think it's quite unsightly. I don't like it. So I do stay clear of nearite snails. But if you can get a male nearite snail, happy days. They're not going to lay eggs, so they're just going to do a job for you. I hope that kind of helps you out a little bit there, Shari. Endel guppies, Maria, they are stunning, aren't they? There's some beautiful Endel guppies out there. Oh my God, I've where I live, I'm quite lucky, because I've got a choice of about 8 different aquariums that I can go into, and some of the Endlers that you go into there are just stunning. Greens, electric blues, like lime green, bright oranges, yellows. Oh, just something special, aren't they? They're just something special. So you're going out this weekend, Maria, to buy some fish, and your son doesn't want fake plants and fake decorations. That is the kind of sun you want. I know they're a little bit different, but I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a fan of fake plants, and I'm not a fan of sunken boats and sunken planes. They have the place for little uns and things like that, yeah. And I wouldn't condemn anyone for having that kind of setup. It's just not for me. Live plants and like a more of a natural look for me is winner, chicken dinner all day. But yeah, just do a little bit of research, mate. I do have a video on my channel regarding the planted aquarium side and how to set one up. I have a build video coming out. We got on a CO2 tank that I built. Hopefully that'll come out in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, just do some research on the plants, mate. And don't be daunted by it, because real plants are quite easy to look after if you go for the easy plants. And they just add so many benefits to your aquarium. It's incredible. Not a problem, Shari. That's what I'm hoping that this live Fish Club streams going to be doing, mate. He's dishing out information for people. But never be afraid to ask any questions, guys, because I'm sure as the community grows, there'll be an answer to everybody's questions. I really do. Fish keeping, you put them in, yeah? Good. The Pesh mode. Do my aquariums have any gay fish? You know what? It's weird you should say that, because it does make you think sometimes. Because I have 2 male Boasmani that are side by side all the time. They never separate. It's really weird. So makes you wonder, doesn't it? You never know. I've got to admit, none of them have got the rainbow flags out. But yeah, mate, honestly, they do. Honestly, I'll even show you now. Just bear with me and I'll move it around. So, see the 2 male Boasmani there? They never leave each other's sides. Never. So, yeah, it does makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think. And there's female Boasmani in there and they never bother with them. So, and they are called rainbows. So, makes you think even more, doesn't it? Oh, that coffee was like over an hour old. So you can imagine how cold that was, seeing as it's cold in Manchester today. So, Maria, you live in Norway and you have family in Huddersfield. I work kind of in Huddersfield on a Wednesday morning. I deliver on Huddersfield on a Wednesday morning. So what's it like in Norway? I bet is it cold in Norway? And matter of fact, what's Norway like for getting hold of aquatic plants anyway, Maria? What is it like? We had a guy in the stream on Saturday from Australia, and they really struggle getting live plants because Australia have these really tight quarantine laws. And I know they did, but I didn't realise just how much it affected the hobby, because they really struggle getting plants. They kind of just stick with Anubias and Java fern because that's kind of they do grow in Australia. So do you have a problem getting any plants, Maria, or is it quite a wide variety that you can get hold of? What can you put with your angels fish keeping? So I'd look at more your larger tetras, like a cardinal. I wouldn't really go for neon tetras. They're okay when your angels are small, but as your angels get bigger, then you're going to start looking at your neon tetras as food. So I'd go for a larger one, like a cardinal. I have Serpa tetras in here, and yeah, they're not a problem. Corridoras are a good one to keep. Plecos. What I'd say I keep Crebensis in these tanks as well, and I keep Crebensis in my rainbow fish tank, and I keep Crebensis in my angelfish tank. And the rainbow fish tank, it wasn't planned. I just put a load of fry in there to grow out, and couldn't get them all out. So now there is Crebensis in there. But the Crebensis live down at the bottom of the tank, and the rainbows live at the top of the tank. And as you well know, it's heavily planted, so they never really come into contact with each other. So there's never any problem. So when you're looking at tank mates for your angelfish, your angelfish will tend to stay more middle to top range of the aquarium. So if you're looking at something that goes round the bottom, then they can pretty much live side by side, really, because they're living in 2 totally different parts of the aquarium. You love the shark, Ian? Yes, mate. Oh, so beautiful, isn't he? He's as black as they come. The red tail is just incredible. And he's been in that aquarium now for 3.5 years. He was one of the first fish that went into that tank. I think he was actually, pretty sure the first fish I bought for that tank was the black red-tailed shark and some peppered corridoras, and he's just amazing. A little bit aggressive sometimes, just after feeding, not while feeding, after feeding. It's really, really weird. But apart from that, I never have a problem with him. Fish keeping and fishing, I'm 10. Are you only 10-year-old, buddy? That's good to see you getting in. If you are only 10, if that's what you mean, you're only 10 years old, and it's nice to see you getting into the hobby at an early age, when your brain will take in all that information. Because as you get older, your brain starts forgetting it as it goes in. It's like filters off. It does. So Maria, you don't have a problem with the plants. That's good to know. That's good. It must. I think it is just Australia because of the quarantine laws. Kind of shocked me really, because I do see the Australian Border Force programs on TV, and I know they are strict on the borders. So I've never made the link between the borders and the aquarium hobby, and what a nightmare it is. Because, like I say, they can only really get Java fern and Anubias because they won't let them in the country. So yeah, it's quite it kind of shocked me a little bit, to be perfectly honest. Kind of amazed me. Can you put an Oscar with your angels? To be perfectly honest, buddy, I wouldn't like to say. If anybody who's in the chat at the moment knows if you can put Oscars and angels together, then that'd be great. But I've never had Oscars, mate, so I've never looked into them. But I do believe Oscars can be quite aggressive, so maybe not. But like I say, mate, I'm not 100% sure. I've never kept Oscars. It's quite warm in Norway, Maria. I wish it was quite warm here, mate. Honestly, it's terrible here today. My central heating came on today, so that says how cold it is in the UK today. And it's not stopped raining all day. So I take 2 weeks off. This is kind of how it works. I take 2 weeks off on holiday. It rains. It'll rain constantly for 2 weeks. And then when I go back to work, it'll probably be bright sunshine. That's what it'll be. Because that's kind of how it works for me. I'm like the weather vane. If I come out, it's raining. When I go back in, sun comes out. Thanks for subscribing, Maria. It means so much to me. It really does. It's nice of you. It helps grow the channel. If you can spend a bit of time watching. Now, I will say on my channel, it does tend to be rainbow fish based. But because rainbow fish make a great community fish, so my channel can be community tank based as well. The reason it's rainbow fish based is for the YouTube algorithm. If you do a channel that's just aquarium based completely, it blows you out of the water. The algorithm blows you out of the water, doesn't bother with you, kind of ignores you like you've done something naughty and you're on the naughty step, and it doesn't bother with you at all. But if you narrow it down to that little niche that I've done of rainbow fish, then the algorithm sees you a little bit and lets you come in to play every now and again. So yeah, if you watch my thing, a lot of the videos on my channel will go into effect with quite a lot of different community fish. I hope that kind of explains why the content seems to be mainly rainbow fish based. Thanks, Maria. Thank you. It means a lot. To be honest, I started doing the live streams 4 weeks ago. This is the 4th one I've done, and I was proper nervous on the first one. I do get nervous, obviously, just before you start, and but I kind of love doing it, to be honest. I really, after the first one, I came off and I was buzzing with it, and I actually sat there and watched it back, 2-hour stream on my phone and watched it back, and Kind of liked it. And it just helps when people like yourself and everyone else that's joining in on the chat today, when people are talking, the live stream just is so good. And that's kind of like I say, that's where I want to take the stream. I want it to be a live fish club from all over the world. And today we have had all over the world in. We've got France, we've had Australia, different parts of America, Norway. Honestly, we've been kind of all over the place today. And obviously we've had people from London in the UK. We've got Manchester in the UK, Haywood, which is right close to me. So it's pretty great how this stream, just today alone, has gone out to someone that's probably 3 miles away from me and someone who's on the other side of the world. And that's kind of it's fantastic, isn't it? What a world we live in when we can do these things all through your telephone, and we can all have a chat and we all get to know each other and we can all share our information. It's a great world. Technology-wise, great world what we're living in, isn't it? Can I put 100 cories in my river? I wouldn't have thought so, mate, no. If you're in France, I don't think... Why would you want to do that anyway? Why would you want to buy 100 cories, which would probably cost you the best part of 600-700 euros, and then put them in your river? If you want to buy 100 cories, mate, buy them and send them me, and I'll put 50 in each of my tanks, or each of my big tanks anyway. Todd Picogram, thanks for joining us today, also known as Satan. So I will speak to you today as Satan, mate, because it's a lot easier than the Todd Picogram. Hope you are good today. Okay, so we'll I don't really know what you're going on about there, mate. Soft Taco, welcome back. Hope you are well. Stream reminded me I need to go and get my CO2 tank refilled before the algae decides to take over. Yes, mate. Yeah, this is it, isn't it? I actually I made a massive mistake on my CO2 tank on Saturday, and I'll be honest, I got away with it. But say it's not a mistake. I like to. If you make mistakes, it's good to learn from them, isn't it? If you're gonna make a mistake and you don't learn from them, then there's no point doing things, is there? But so on Saturday, I changed the ring in my diffuser. I've never done it before. I know they say you should change them every 3 months, but I couldn't find my rings. I couldn't find my replacement rings. Anyway, I found them in the week, and I decided Saturday morning I'll change the ring. So I changed the ring on my diffuser and put it back in. What changing the ring did was change, I don't know how, because I have a CO2 art regulator as well. So I do have a good regulator. But I think the change of pressure of changing the ring changed the amount of CO2 that went into the tank. And I hadn't realised, because I did that Saturday morning. And then I did the live stream and all my tank maintenance, and I just cracked on, did all that, made something to eat, got everything done, sat down about 8 o'clock in the evening, and I looked at my CO2 tank. I'm like, there's no fish in there. Where are all the fish? Now, it is quite heavily planted, so they could have all retreated, but when I looked, they were all on the surface, and my drop counter was bright yellow. It looked like actually a morning urine, a morning wee, if you will. So I ended up doing like a 50% water change on that. I didn't fill it up overnight as much, so there was loads of wet air getting into there. And unfortunately, I did lose just one celestial pearl Daniel. Luckily, only one. But yeah, it's just something you need to look into when you're doing your CO2 tanks, because I'm new to the CO2 game, so it's a learning curve for me, and I didn't think changing the diffuser would have an effect on the amount of CO2 that went in there, because I had it regulated. but it did make a difference. So it's one to look out for me, definitely in the future. Maria, not a problem. Thanks for joining us today. You're going to go and buy some breeding boxes and some nets. Nice. I hope you will pass by soon. I will be back on doing another live fish group meeting on Wednesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. So hopefully 2 till maybe like 5, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see how that goes. But hopefully you can pass by and say hello. We'll have a good chat again. Let us know how you go on at the pet store. See if you buy anything today. See you soon. I know, Soft Taco, I was pretty distraught, to be honest, because there's 6 albino cories in there. They were struggling. It was just like, just one of them things. But these mistakes happen, don't they? We do these things, you know, at the end of the day, I've been in fish keeping for over 40 years, and mistakes are made, aren't they, at the end of the day? We all make them, we're human. It's if you learn, it's how to learn from them is the main thing, isn't it? It's like when I first started with the CO2, changing the water in my bubble counter, I used to just do it and it'd go everywhere, and it's like, God, there's got to be an easy way of doing this. And there is an easy way of doing it. I was just thick, and I kept having to turn my diffuser off to do it. So, and I was just daft. It's on a timer, and if you just do the bubble counter, when the timer goes off, it turns the regulator off, so you can just take it apart and do it and then put it back together, and it's right, and you don't have to mess about adjusting the regulator. But you learn these things. I'm a bit like, I know I do a YouTube channel and it's educational regarding fish keeping, but I'm a bit of a trial and error kind of person. Me, I like to try things, and if I fail, I'll try something else. And it's, to me, it's a good way of how I learn. And if I do carry on struggling, I will go on YouTube and I will look at how to do something. As for like cleaning your diffuser, now the diffuser, when it starts getting a bit of algae on there, I was like, well, how would you clean that? Because obviously I'd lost all the rings, and I didn't want to go out and buy a load of rings because I knew I had some. So I looked on the internet, and actually it was a George Farmer video, and he puts his diffuser in a bleach solution, and you're like, what is that thing? So put your diffuser while it's running, so the CO2 coming out of it, and put it into a bleach solution. I think it's like 1 part bleach to every 4 parts water, and you just leave it running there for 5 minutes, and I'm thinking that's just going to kill all your fish though when you put it back in. But then you put it into a tub of dechlorinated water, a tub with dechlorinator in for 10 minutes, and it just dechlorinated all the bleach, and you put it back in, and it was like new. So yeah, and I've done that. I've done it a few times, and yeah, it just kind of makes you think, what, bleach? And to me, bleach and fish tanks don't mix, but actually they do. Carrie Britton, thanks for joining us today. I hope you are well. Oh, mate, that's really nice. So you've got like 800 babies at the moment. That's awesome. Do they kind of look after their own young, or have you had to separate them? Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, mate? So to be honest, I should do a little video on it, but obviously, like I say, I do try and keep my rainbow fish based because of the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, George Farmer does a really good video on it, mate. It's well worth watching. It's an eye opener because, like I say, to me, you don't use bleach on stuff that you use in your fish tank, but as long as you dechlorinate it afterwards and keep the gases running so it doesn't kind of enter the diffuser itself, it's not a problem. Yeah, it's an eye opener. I know, it's one of those, mate, isn't it, Carrie? You it's trial and error, mate. It's one of those. I'd Google it and see if they do have parental responsibilities. But even with fish that have parental responsibilities, tend to eat the young from time to time. So I guess if it's possible to separate them and you want to bring those up, as many as you can, and then move them on and sell them or swap them out, then maybe separation is the best way, and then start feeding them like baby brine shrimp. And I like to use bee pollen. Like, you get bee pollen from any like health food store, and just put it in a little bit of warm water, and it dissolves into, and just makes like a little, so the little plastic medicine cups, I always put a few bits of bee pollen in that warm water, just let it kind of dissolve in there, and give it a bit of a stir up, and you get this milky water. And I pour that into my shrimp tank mainly, but I do pour it when I've got fry as well, because those little particles are great for your fry, and I'll be honest, even better for your shrimp, because like bee pollen is just so much protein and goodness in it. It's really good for them. It's nice to see though that, Carrie, that they don't eat the young. That's nice to see. Hopefully they do keep it that way. I think there's maybe that the ones that they think won't make it anyway, and just take out the weakness. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. Maybe that's how it kind of works. But keep us posted on that, mate. Let us know how it goes. So they vary in size. That because I have actually seen this. So it's a bit of a weird thing, because you get it. You get it a lot with guppies as well, and I think it was the guppies that did it with mine. So my Crebensis had like 30 babies that survived, and I took them out. I used a turkey baster, and I took them out and I put them in a tank on their own, and they kind of grew out okay, and they all grew to the same size. And when they got to round about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, I caught them all and I put them in my rainbow fish tank to grow out. And so the Crebensis baby's parents was a female albino, and the male was a Nigerian red or Nigerian black. I think it's a Nigerian red. And they'd bred and they had these babies. So the babies were a mix of albino and and Nigerian reds, if you will. All the albinos were all female, which is a bit of a weird one. So I put them all into the rainbow fish tank, and they all grew, and I pretty much got rid of a majority of them to my local fish store. I swapped them out for a load of live food and some fish, and they did really well. And then there were some that I couldn't catch, and they're still in there. But there was 4 female albinos that survived, but they didn't grow past the size of 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch. So I looked into it, because it was like, why have all my other Crebensis grown and these 4 haven't? And apparently some babies release a pheromone in the water, and it'll stop or stunt the growth of other babies so they can grow. And it's a bit weird, really. I kind of looked into it and briefly, and it was like, oh right, okay. So I took the albino cories out of that tank and put them in here, and within 6 months I now have 4 fully grown female albino cories, albino cribs, sorry, that breed. So yeah, it's a bit mad how they just didn't grow in that aquarium, and I do believe that it's because there's like a pheromone in the water that fry can release, and it kind of stunts the growth of other fry. Weird one. They hardly eat anything. I know, mate. What they'll do, they will be feeding on little microorganisms that are in the water. It's worth putting in some like catappa leaves and things like that. But like, it'll take a couple of weeks for the microorganisms to start growing on the catappa leaves, but they'll feast on that, and it's good for baby shrimp as well. What about vinegar? Now, I know people do clean things with vinegar, don't they? But I think you're all right as long as you give it a good rinsing out afterwards. But as for like anything else, I'm not really sure. But as long as it's like, it's just a lot of stuff you use, as long as you give them a good rinse out and you find out, but certain things I would stay clear of. Like I say, with the bleach thing, it's because you're putting your diffuser in bleach and then putting it back in your tank. But like I say, you do use a dechlorinator afterwards, and it works. It works. It's a bit of a crazy one. Hi, Sean. Thanks for joining us today, buddy. Best all-in-one fertilizers. So I suppose it really depends on your setup, mate. So I use 2 different fertilizers in my tanks. On my big tanks, which are mainly like epiphyte based, mainly more than anything, I've got Java ferns, I've got Anubias in there. I do have some spectacular lotus tiger lilies, which obviously are a bulb plant, and there's Amazon swords and Erineoko or something, whatever you pronounce it. So I use a liquid fertilizer called Neutro Plus. I don't know if I can get it out. No, not that one. It's great when everything's at hand. So I used that. Neutro Plus. So there's Neutro and there's Neutro Plus. Neutro Plus is the one that you actually use for CO2 tanks. But these plants started showing signs of a potassium deficiency, so I moved over from Neutro over to Neutro Plus, and now they don't have a potassium deficiency, so I've kept on the Neutro Plus. So I use Neutro Plus, one, because it's quite relatively priced. It's not massively expensive. If you sign up to, I bought it from a company called Aqua Essentials, and every 3 months or so, you can set it to how much you want them to deliver. But if you subscribe to them, so every 3 months, they'll send out a 5 litre tub of the Neutro Plus and 5 litre tub of the Neutro CO2. And that's just your liquid CO2. And I don't use that as much as I use a fertilizer, and it's good when you sign up to the subscription, you get it at a bit of a cheaper rate. So that's good. But in my CO2 tank, I could use the Neutro Plus, and I've never used the Neutro Plus in there. On Instagram, I am friendly with a guy called FSL, and he last year he was ranked in the World Aquascaping Championships. He was ranked 28th in the world, and he uses APT3 on his tanks because I asked him what he used, and that's what he recommended. So the way I look at it, if the ranked 28th in the world aquascaper for last year uses APT3, then that's the one I would highly recommend. And the reason I don't use APT3 in my bigger tanks is because it's pretty expensive. And it'd probably cost me about 50 quid a month, whereas the Neutro Plus that I use in my bigger tanks, with the 2 that I use, the liquid CO2 and the fertilizer, costs me £82 every 3 to 4 months. So still quite a lot in it, but a lot cheaper. I kind of hope that puts where I am on fertilizers, mate. But then there's loads out there, isn't there? I know API do the Leaf Zone, and that's like a weekly edition. You just add it weekly, but like I said, the one I use is a daily. So there's loads out there. It just depends what you like to use, and depends on money. So yeah, I tend to use a cheaper one, but I don't have a problem with it. I think my plants are looking pretty good on it. And as for root tabs, I'm currently using the Tropica root tabs, but I'm running a little experiment where I've made my own root tabs, and I've kind of so I ran a little experiment in a few little jars to see if you got an ammonia spike off them, just to make sure you didn't. And I run that alongside a Tropica one to get a comparison. The ammonia spike you got on the Tropica one in the jar was a lot more than what I did on my homemade one. So that kind of made me feel good. And I just made one little capsule and I put it under my lotus tiger lily, and it went under there about 3 weeks ago. And the lotus is doing pretty well. I just want to make sure that it does okay, and then I'll probably do a video on how I've made these root tabs. But I obviously want to make sure that they are 100% safe. I'm not going to try them in my shrimp tank, and I won't recommend people to use them in the shrimp tank because, one, I could, but if I kill all my shrimp, then I'll be gutted, and I don't want to even take that risk because I don't know if these will be shrimp safe. So they will be just something that I'll use on my big tanks, not in the CO2 tank or the shrimp tank. I keep 10 natural planted tanks here in Texas, and the Euthanasia simply keeps spawning on floating water sprite. Oh, really? That's awesome. Is that awesome though? Is that what you want? The Euthanasia simply keep spawning. That's good though, isn't it? I think that's great. Things are going right, mate. If things are spawning, then your conditions are perfect for them, aren't they? 10 natural planted tanks. That's brilliant, mate. I have 4 going, and I would like more, obviously, to have 10 going. So I polled this on YouTube and Facebook a few weeks ago. So I asked how many people had tanks running, and I'd put 1, 2, 3, 4 plus. And the amount of people that were like, I've got 80 tanks and I've got 200 tanks, one guy said. So I bracketed it to a bit of a larger thing. But to be honest, when I asked how many tanks people had, I kind of meant planted scaped tanks, you know. And I mean scaped, I don't mean like mine where they're all fully planted. How many tanks people have, you know, at home that they've spent time doing up, whether it be a sunken helicopter or a boat, whatever, or fully planted, or, you know, anything that's just got like rocks in and things like that, anything. But a lot of people look at, so this one person said that they had 200 ponds, and then he went on Instagram and in fact, no, sorry, Facebook, and he put a picture up of his 200 ponds. And actually what it was he had 200 buckets with a plant in it and a fish. And personally, to me, that's not a pond. That's just a bucket with a plant in it. So, you know, but what are your thoughts? Is a bucket with a plant in it classed as a pond? I personally don't think it is. Now, to me, a pond is like, my mum's got a pond. Me and my dad. So years ago, my mum and dad had a pond. It started off as a water feature with a tench in it. And that was like 35, 40 years ago. It was a long, long time ago. And they had this water feature. We got this water feature because my mum had been poorly, and we bought this water feature and we put a little tench in it. And the tench grew, and we moved up to a pond, and the tench went in the pond, and the tench grew, and we made a little bit of a bigger pond, and the tench went into that. And then it's like 3 years ago, we decided that it was going to be a bigger pond, and we raised it out of the ground. So me and my dad did this, and we took the old pond out. We've got a new pond, and we built this pond in this like box, and it looked awesome. And we built that in the October, and then it was coming round to the following year where we were going to get a load of plants for it. And unfortunately, my dad passed away, and so it was left to me and my mum, and so we've kept it going. And for my dad, you know, it's a bit of his legacy and that. And yeah, it's looking good. It's looking absolutely fantastic, to be perfectly honest. That's another learning curve, ponds. But that, to me, a pond is something in your garden that you look at and you can sit by and watch and enjoy the fish. I don't personally think that a pond is a bucket with a plant in it. What are your thoughts? Is a bucket with a plant in it a pond. It's awesome. Do you use vinegar, Carrie? Do you? I take it you use vinegar then. And what do you use vinegar on? Is that for cleaning a tank, or do you use it for cleaning stuff? I take it you don't add it to the water, but I'm kind of intrigued now on what you use vinegar on. So it gives you an excuse to the wife to get more tanks set up, mate. It's addictive, isn't it? It's addictive. It's I know we all go out looking for more tanks. There's just room in it. I spend many an hour thinking, could I get a tank on there? Could I get a tank on there? And I did it. I did it with my CO2 tank. I sat there thinking that table would look good with a tank on it, but I don't think my coffee table would take the weight. So then I devised a way of strengthening the coffee table so you couldn't see it, and then put a tank on it. And I did do that. And then I was sat there after a few months thinking, a tank will go in there. So I went out and bought a little unit and put a tank on it. And that's kind of how this hobby gets you. It's really addictive, isn't it? Especially, I've found, don't know if anyone else out there finds this, but if you go down the line of buying shrimp, that will just blow your pockets away. That shrimp, to me, shrimp are just so like addictive and just amazing to watch. They're always busy. There's always something going on in a shrimp tank, especially if a female shrimp has just like shed its outer skin, and all the males end up going mental around the front of the tank because they release a pheromone in the water so they can breed. Because like, I don't know if you know, but female shrimp will grow its eggs, and then it'll shed its skin, and then it'll breed, and then it passes its eggs through the male's sperm, and she'll carry them eggs for like 30 days or so. But she'll release this pheromone in the water, so now all the males just go mental. It's like they just go absolutely crazy. Tila Sajad, how are you doing today, buddy? Hope you are well. Ah, right. So you dilute vinegar to clean your nets. I've never really thought of that. I just kind of run them under boiling hot water. But yeah, I've never really thought of it like that. Yeah, that's good to know. And you use bleach to clean new tanks. Yeah, yes, bleach is just one thing that proper scared me. I suppose if you use bleach and then you clean it out with water and dechlorinator, then it's all good, isn't it? Thanks, Kareth. No, thanks for joining us today, mate, and thank you for subscribing to the channel as well, mate, because it means so much. I'm just glad that you've passed by, and I hope you come back. I do hope you come back, because this community, like today, the community has been fantastic today. And it'll grow. So no, I really appreciate you popping in today, buddy. So take care in your day and keep safe. Thank you. Thank you. So this today has gone to where we're using bleach in the aquarium. And it's a bit mad, isn't it? Because you'd think bleach and fish, you're not going to use them together. But it appears that it is used quite a lot. Well, we've had Carrie there tell us that he cleans his tanks out with a bleach solution on his new tanks, which is quite a surprise. And you use a bleach solution to clean your CO2 diffusers, which, like, as I said earlier, when you want to clean your diffuser and you kind of Google it and see that people are using bleach, you kind of got to question that, haven't you? You think, what? Is that right? Do you really use bleach to clean your diffuser? And then you go into it more and you see someone like George Farmer, who's put a video on YouTube about it, and you watch that and he uses it, and then you just you keep the CO2 running so it doesn't soak into the diffuser, and you keep it in bleach for 5 minutes until it's clean, and then you put it in dechlorinator for 5 minutes, and it neutralizes the bleach. I would never have thought that, and like I say, I do it now, and it works. It's a great little tip. It's just something that frightens you. Bleach and fish tanks. Yeah, I'm going to try that, Carrie. I am going to try that. If you're still there, I'm not sure. I've just seen that you put diluted. I kind of guessed what you'd meant. Yeah, diluted vinegar, 3 minutes. Like I say, I tend to use hot water. I always thought I was okay with hot water, but it's quite a good idea, that. I like that. Does anyone else use vinegar on their nets? Something I've never come across before. That it's quite interesting. For all those that are still with us today, we're kind of hoping to grow this live stream, and what I want it to be is a fish club, online fish club, where we can all come in and we can all swap information. And today is the first day that I've kind of changed it to just doing a live session and done it as a fish club. And the chat today has been fantastic. There's been people from all over the world here today. We've had Australia, many different parts of America, Texas, Minnesota, California. We've had France, Norway, people in the UK. We've even had someone that's 3 miles up the road from where I live. So the community we've had today in here has been all over the world. So it's been really good to see how people do things in the world. Earlier on, we had a guy called Ron from America, and he keeps Neocaridina shrimp in water that tests at 180 GH, whereas I keep Neocaridina shrimp in water that tests at 0 GH. And it was that kind of makes you think, well, does the KH and GH of your water really matter? I know KH regulates your pH, so that's probably always a good one to make sure. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on KH and GH? Is it a myth that we've all been pulled into, or do you actually have to regulate and test your KH and GH? I know, like I say, KH regulates your pH, but your GH, do you regulate your KH and GH? And how often do you actually test for it? I know we all probably regularly test our ammonia, our nitrites, and our nitrates, because that's kind of what we do. And I'd like to hope that everyone tests the source water regularly, to know what especially before you're doing a large water change, to make sure you know what you're putting in there. But what about your KH and GH, guys? Do you watch it? Do you keep an eye on it? I know, Shari, quite a lot of people say I should do TikTok as well, mate. And I probably should. I've always just been a little bit wary with TikTok, because when I started doing all this, I just started solely just doing the YouTube, and I've set up an Instagram account pretty soon after that. I'd never been anywhere near Facebook. It was something that never interested me whatsoever, Facebook. So I kind of never bothered with Facebook. Now I have gone onto Facebook and I use the groups, and I do kind of like promote the channel quite a lot in the groups. So TikTok's something people do say, and you're right, it's just to spread the word. But I kind of got put off it with the Chinese spyware thing that was going about, and that was going around massively at the time when I started it. And I thought, do I want to get involved with that? Do I need to worry about that? I don't really. So that's the reason why I've never done TikTok, but maybe I should take a look at getting into it, because I know it will spread the word, and I believe TikTok's a lot easier to make money on. don't know. Something I will probably have to look into. Well, at the moment, for the next couple of weeks, what I try and do, the live streams, I need to try and get things going regarding doing my online shop. I was asked before about the t-shirt from a guy in Australia. So yeah, and he was interested in the shop, in the t-shirts. I want to get some cups made. And the cups, kind of wanted black cups with BGN Aquariums going round them, but no one prints on black cups. So kind of like, it's kind of that's what I was getting planned for the next 2 weeks to get that up and running. But sadly, there's no one up print on black cups. I need to kind of redesign what I'm going to put on cups. But I definitely want to get the t-shirts on the shop in the next 4 weeks or so. Hi, Diogo. Thanks for joining us today, mate. It's nice to see you back. And I know you was with us on Saturday. So, Seachem Clarity. There are many different ways of things that you can use to get your water clear. I know I do have, is it there? No, I thought I had it down there. I use the API AquaClear. When my water's cloudy, I'll be honest, if it kind of clouds up a little bit after a water change, I tend to just leave it and it'll just sort itself out. And it tends to be right, like the next morning anyway, it's clear. But there are products that you can use. And like I say, I do use API AquaClear if I'm planning on like doing some filming in the afternoon and my tank's a little bit cloudy, I'll use AquaClear to clear that. Seachem Clarity is something I've never used, but everyone swears by Seachem products, so I can't really see that it not working. I think it's probably a good product. As for ways of keeping water crystal clear, I do a video on it, mate, actually. I do have a video on my channel about how to keep my water crystal clear. And it's all about how you have, a lot of it is just about how you have your tank set up. If you've got plants, they're going to help keep that water clear. And then it's down to how you've got your filter set up. So obviously, in a canister filter, the water wants to go through the coarsest filter media first, and then you'll find a lot of the filters will have 3 different courses of foam. So it goes through the really coarse one first, then the one that's not so coarse, and then the one that's got all the tiny little bubbles. It goes through that for last. And it circulates through that. So obviously, as water goes through the foams, it takes out the smaller particles of dirt. And one thing I do is, so I do have I have the filter media that just holds the beneficial bacteria. But then what I also do after that section, I have filter floss. I just get a good handful of filter floss, put that in. And what that does is just, it's the last thing that the water goes through before it goes back into the tank is the filter floss. And that filter floss just polishes your water a little bit more. Now, once a month, I clean my canister filters once a month anyway. Slightly different on the FX4 because I just believe you can just leave them running for ages. But I will do a clean on that in the next couple of weeks anyway. And just to change, like I say, change the filter floss. And you'll be surprised just how dirty that filter floss will be when you take it out after a month, because it'll be full. And that, to me, is the main way of keeping your water crystal clear. If you use filter floss, mate, it kind of just polishes it. And as you can see, it's a lot of that what you can see there is glare. But obviously, if you were sat here looking at it through my eyes, you don't even know there's water in these tanks. That's how clear it is. And it's, like I say, it's down to the filter floss polishing the water and the plants keeping that water clean as well. I hope that kind of helps you there, Diogo. But yeah, I couldn't say anything about Seachem, mate. They're a great company, aren't they? And everything they do works. So the only Seachem products I use is the Garlic Guard and tend to do a couple of drops of garlic guard when I'm defrosting the frozen live food, just because apparently it's really good for like keeping parasites away and things like that. So yeah, and I'll be honest, it kind of if you use garlic guard on the bloodworm, it makes them smell a little bit better as well, because that garlic guard smells awesome. If you like the smell of garlic, if you don't like the smell of garlic, you're going to find it horrible. But garlic guard smells pretty good. Makes me feel hungry anyway when I open it. So guys, when you're doing your water changes, do you test your water? Do you test the source water? Do you test your KH and your GH? It's a bit of a mad one, isn't it? It's a bit of a mad one, because it is so like mixed up whether people do. We'll just take the time, guys, to say, so this morning, so my channel is rainbow fish based. As I say, it's rainbow fish based, but it's like community tank based really more than anything, because but you have to narrow it down for a niche for the YouTube algorithm. But this morning, so every now and again, I will film a tank for an hour. So a couple of years ago, I'd gone round to a mate's and I'd walked in his house and he was playing the Netflix log fire through his TV. And I was like, what's this? And I was like, it's log fire. And it had like millions of views. So it got me to thinking that if people will put a log fire burning on the TV just as a backdrop, so like, you know, if you've got people round and things like that, you've got a party going on, and rather than the telly have any rubbish that telly has on TV nowadays playing a log fire, I thought, no, I'd look good on that TV. One of my fish tanks. So I film a fish tank. So this morning I did launch an hour-long video of that aquarium. I kind of wanted to launch it yesterday, but I deleted it by mistake. I'd done it. I'd put it all through the program, the editing program I use. I'd put it all through that, edited it, converted it. I got up in the morning. I thought, right, I'll put this onto YouTube now. And I was hoping that I'd be able to launch it for about midday yesterday. And I looked and thought, oh, I've not took the sound out of it, so you'd be able to hear me in the background and the TV in the background. Well, hearing the TV in the background will flag up a copyright issue straight away. So I deleted it to redo it, and I totally deleted it off my laptop as well, so it didn't take up any space. And when I looked, I had took the sound out. It was just me with my 7 o'clock morning brain. And totally messed it up. So I had to redo it again. It takes like 5 hours to convert it ready for. so it's a mad one. It's a mad one. Yeah, Ian, thank you. It is. Yeah, it works. I when it came on the internet this morning, when it came on, I played it through my TV, and it was pretty mad. So I had my angel fish tank here, and I had my angel fish tank over there. So it was like, so really, the angel fish could have looked out and gone, he looks like me. That tank over there looks like me. But yeah, it works, and there is some like kind of calm music. So I've done a few. There is a few on my channel, and there's different types of music. I've gone for calm music. I did one that had Christmas music playing behind. But you kind of, as far as I'm aware, you kind of have to use the music that YouTube let you use, and some are more popular than others. The Christmas one did okay over Christmas, but then I changed the music on that, because obviously no one's going to play the one with Christmas music on throughout the year. So I changed the music on that, and I've done all kinds of different music. There's one that's got house music, there's one that's got techno. They just don't do anything. So I've kind of gone back to the calm, like I say, water-based music. It's just calm music that fits well with the aquarium. It's just nice to have playing in the background, and people that don't have the room for massive aquariums, It's nice to have playing through your TV as a screensaver, and it kind of works. And a few of them I've got some great views, you know. It's just yeah, I think it's just nice to do. So Diogo, you don't test your water, but I'm going to start doing that. Just add a few drops of Seachem Prime to remove the chloramine. Yes, yeah. So Prime is like a dechlorinator, isn't it? And yeah, I use the fluval version of that. And but yeah, it's always good to test your water from time to time. I test my tanks. I do them monthly, and my water source. Nowadays, I actually test that more than I do test my tanks. I'm quite confident that my tanks are okay. I know what to look out for if there's a problem. But as for the water source, yeah, I test that every other week. I test that just to make sure. And I probably should have to do that every week, but my source water hasn't fluctuated in years, so I kind of feel like I'm okay. If I see that there's been like work going on around the area, water from like the water companies, then I will test my water before it goes in, and I just do a bit of a clarity test by putting some water in a glass just to make sure it's clear. Because sometimes, like if they've been working on the pipes, the water can come through proper cloudy and dirty, and obviously I don't want to pump that into my tanks. But yeah, I'd test your water, like the tanks I do, like I say, about monthly just to make sure everything's okay. But that's the beauty of when you feed in your tanks, and just the fact, if you sit there and watch your aquariums, if you watch your fish, you know how they move and how they act and interact with everything else. And if you see that fish change, then it's a good indication that there's something wrong in the aquarium. You know, you'll see it sometimes. You're like, why is that fish laying on the bottom there? Because there's something wrong. If you know how your fish move, then and you kind of like you're studying your fish as you're watching them and enjoying them, it's a lot easier to see if your water quality is off, in my opinion. And like I say, I test monthly, but I test in the water every time I'm watching the tank. Thanks for answering your question today, and good luck with the channel. Thanks, Shari. Not a problem, mate. I hope you do pass by. I hope you pass by more often, mate. I do. It's good to see you today. Good to see you, especially knowing that you're only a few miles down the road from me as well. But yeah, thanks for popping in today, mate, and thanks for subscribing. It means a lot. Empire of Dirt Aquatics, Jeff, thank you for joining us today, mate. I do hope you are well, and I think I saw you on Saturday. I hope you've had a good weekend, buddy. Hope you had a good weekend. Today we have been like kind of discussing water testing. We've discussed with water testing. Kind of went on a little bit about the euthanasia in the aquarium, which is something I've just done a video on this week, and we discuss. So my video this week that I've launched is about euthanasia, and we kind of look at the different methods of what people use to euthanize fish, being it flushing it, blunt force trauma, phenoxyethanol. That's one I have to kind of keep remembering. Phenoxyethanol is a way that people use to kill fish, and that's quite big in the koi carp world of way of euthanizing fish. And we look at different ways, freezing, ice buckets, and then we look at the actual only way to euthanize fish, which is recommended by the RSPCA. And I will just say that there is no fish harmed in the making of that video. It is solely me just talking and kind of giving you the different ways on how people do this and what my beliefs are on doing it. So yeah, it's well worth checking out that video if you're a fish keeper, and especially if you're a fish keeper and you just and you flush a fish that's dying, because that's like so many different reasons why you shouldn't be doing that. And one is a major thing that you could cause a massive like environmental catastrophe in your own area if you flush them, and that spreads disease. It can cause so many problems. So yeah, it's a good one to look at. And I also tell you how the RSPCA recommend that what you do with a fish once it's passed away, and it's not fry it in garlic and have it with chips. I'm only joking. It is. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's yeah. So it's quite a good video if you're a fish keeper and you flush. It's quite a good video to watch just to see what the other ways are and why it's not recommended to do all these different ways. And then what else have we discussed? So yeah, it's been a great, to be honest, it's been a great couple of hours. It really has. It's been really good. There's been loads of chat today. I've had people from all over the world in here today, which has been really interesting. And when I say we have people from all over the world, and it's interesting. So on Saturday we had a guy come in and he was from Australia, and we got talking about different amount of live plants that you can buy and how it's changed over the years. Because like when I first started in this hobby years ago, you couldn't really get live plants, and the live plants you could get, you was like Amazon swords and kabomba, and that was kind of it. But now, with the amount of live plants that you can get in the hobby, it's just like, it's just immense. And we got talking to this guy from Australia, and I kind of know that Australia's borders are tight because they see the programs, they see the border force programs, and you know that the quarantine laws in Australia are like proper tight. But what I never really made the connection between the quarantine laws and the aquarium hobby. And you realise that in Australia, really, the only plants they can get are like Anubias and Java ferns. It's quite an eye-opener, really. It kind of makes you think and makes you see what goes on. And yeah, that's kind of something I learned over the weekend, was the aquarium hobby in Australia is really hard. It's kind of like, if you will, it's probably like how it was in the UK 40 years ago, when you were limited to the amount of plants you can get. Whereas now in the UK, God, you can go online and just order whatever plants, you know, from the easy ranges of your Anubias and your Java ferns, just some crazy hard plants, you know, like Ludwigia super reds, Plustris super reds, and things like that. You know, it's how much it's changed. And like, if only 40 years ago you could get a Lotus Tiger Lily like that, you know, that to me, that, guys, is like, that's the ultimate for live plants. And if anybody says that they'd prefer plastic plants, then I'd show them that and go, show me a plastic plant that is more satisfying to look at than that. Don't really think you'd be able to. And plastic, even like, to me, plastic plants don't look real anyway, but live plants just offer so much more, don't they? And yeah, so it was a bit of an eye-opener. And I can imagine it's quite annoying to watch someone like me sat in front of my tanks with loads of different plants, and you're sat there in a warm country where you can get loads of different types of fish that are native to the country, and like a lot of the rainbow fish overall are native to Australia. So it's a bit of a mad one, because over here I'm limited to the amount of different types of rainbow fish I can get, and over there he's got an endless amount of different types of rainbow fish and no plants. So it'd be nice if you could have come up with a happy medium where I could have some of his rainbow fish and he could have some of my plants. Because I do struggle with some of the rainbow fish I get, like red rainbow fish, I struggle getting hold of. Really do. I've only ever seen them once in 3 years, and they were just a bit old. They just looked old and kind of didn't want to get old fish. So I like buying my fish relatively young. I like to watch them grow. Part of the hobby I like is buying a juvenile and watching it grow. And like when I bought my Susie rainbow fish, went to the shop, and the guy who works in there, he does look after me, and he tries to get males and females for me because he knows that's what I want. And we'd gone in and he was like, look at these Susie rainbow fish here. And I looked and they were just like a silverfish. And I was like, oh, a little bit drab, really, nothing spectacular to look at. Then he got his phone out and he was like, they're only juvenile, but look what they grow into. And they get a lot more colourful as they get older, rainbow fish. And he showed me this picture of this Susie rainbow fish and it was like spectacular. So I got some and they've been in that tank now probably for around about a year. And where you get rainbow fish where they kind of colour up more in the morning. My Susie rainbow fish colour up at night in the evenings. They look amazing and they get this like, so they go to this like pinky fluorescent orange colour and they are like just stunning. And I do have a male and females in there, so it would be nice for them to breed, and it'd be nice if I could see them breed. Then I could try and remove the eggs and maybe like drop them into the shrimp tank for a little bit to see if they fill out. But yeah, that's I think the Susie are probably up there with my favourites of the rainbows at the moment. The Susie and the Bozeman and the Park and Sony, they're just like phenomenal, just beautiful looking, so beautiful looking. I think platies can be, mate. Yeah. So your rainbow fish, Diogo, are really, really placid. They're like, they do grow to quite a size, and but they are really placid fish. So they make a great community tank fish, and they will live side by side with your platies, no problems whatsoever. But there is a chance that obviously your platies are life bearers, and they kind of breed like rabbits. So your platies will supply you with an endless amount of fry. But while they're supplying you with that endless amount of fry, they're also going to be offering you rainbow fish an endless supply of food. Because like any fish, you see, you can look and think, right, you can put neon tetras with shrimp because they're not going to attack the shrimp. But your neon tetras will eat your little shrimplets when they're really small, because at the end of the day, we've all got it ingrained into our brains to look for food. So when your fish are swimming about, all they're ever doing is looking for food. So if your rainbow fish is swimming around and he sees little platy fry that will fit in his mouth, it's going to be food. So they will live side by side, but if you're looking at breeding your platies, then you wouldn't be as successful with your rainbow fish. Some will survive. Like I have endlers in my rainbow fish tank, and I do have an endless supply of endlers because some do survive it. But that's just with it being heavily planted. So them fry are just going to tuck into them plants, and they'll stay in them plants and they'll forage off all like the little microorganisms that grow on the leaves. And they'll grow, and then when they get to a bit of a bigger size, they'll come out, and the rainbow fish won't look twice at them because they're not going to be able to feast on them because they're too big. So if you're going to keep platies mixed with your rainbow fish, just make sure you've got plenty of plants in there. Maybe some Java fern and Java moss are a really good addition. So like with Java moss especially, the fry can go into that Java moss and they're just going to be so safe, because like your large rainbows aren't going to go into that moss because they're not going to be able to get in there. And that helps them survive from all the other fish as well, because the platies will eat their own young. I'm pretty sure platies will eat their own young, hence why you have the separated dishes, so the fry fall through so they don't get eaten straight away. So yeah, they will kind of feed on their own young if they get the chance to. Anyway, mate, I kind of hope that answers your question and why you can and why maybe, if for some reasons, why you can't. I kind of hope that answers your question, buddy. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to go and get a drink. I'm back. I was I nursed a cold coffee for ages. I made a coffee and then just got talking and forgot to drink it. And I had it there in my hand for most of the time, and I still forgot to drink it. So it got a little bit cold. So as I've just gone and getting a drink there, I've just looked out, and here in Manchester, it is absolutely pouring down with rain. Absolutely pouring down. Not good at all. Not good at all. So we'll just go over everything that we've been covering today, really. So this is like a new thing to me, doing the live stream. So over the past few Saturdays, I've been doing the live streams from like 2:30 onwards, and it's just me doing the maintenance on my tanks, and we all have a chat. But so over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try and get to 3 to 4 live streams a week done. But the ones on like today, Monday, I'm doing one Wednesday, I'll do one Friday afternoon, all starting at 2 o'clock. And what I want to try and do is grow like an online fish club where we all meet up here at certain times. The ones, Monday, Wednesday, Friday ones are kind of going to be for the next couple of weeks while I'm off work. And then we'll just go back to the Saturdays. But we can always do like a live fish club, maybe more in the evenings when I've finished work. Maybe do like an hour in the evenings, maybe in the future, if anyone wants that. But that's what I do, is build a community. So there's like hundreds of us in here from all over the world, because we have had people all over the world today. We've had Australians, Americans, French, lady from Norway, people in London. We've got Shorey here that's here now, and he lives like literally 3 miles down the road from me. So it's like, it's been proper mad today. How we've had people from Australia and a guy that lives down the corner. So it's been really good. And I want to try and grow that community to where we can all swap knowledge. I've been in this hobby for 40 years, but it means nothing because people have asked me about Oscars today, and I haven't got a clue about Oscars because I've never had Oscars. So as the community in this fish club grows, I'm hoping that some people will have had Oscars or will keep Oscars, and then they could go, actually, Russ, you might not know about Oscars, but I do, and they can comment in the chat, and then I can read the chat, and I can learn about Oscars as we go along as well. And loads of other fish as well, you know, there's fish that I've kept and there's fish that I haven't kept. And I wouldn't dream about telling somebody how to keep discus, for instance, because I've never had discus. So it's not something I have any knowledge on. But if someone wanted to know how to keep piranha, years ago I kept piranha, and I had years of fun out of my piranha. And so I do have kind of a good knowledge regarding piranhas and how to keep them safe. And like now look at Diogo here in Portugal. So we've got a community that's stretching branches out all over the world. And what that brings us is how people do things change so much, and it gives you a bit of a different insight into the hobby. So earlier on, we had a guy called Ronnie, and I do know Ronnie. He follows me on YouTube, and I follow him on YouTube. And we're going to looking at doing like a live collaboration, because we're both small YouTubers and we both want to grow. So if we can help each other out, why not? He's in California. I'm in Manchester. I wish it was the other way around, to be perfectly honest. I wish I was in California and he was in Manchester, but can't be that way. But what we found out was we both keep Neocaridina shrimp. So this is like, obviously, why we've been discussing water testing and things like that today. Now, my Neocaridina shrimp are thriving in my tank, and it's testing at the pH is 6.8. The GH and the KH are 0 to 1, because that's what my water pumps out, and I don't adjust the water that goes for the shrimp tank. I very rarely do water change on the shrimp tank. I will just do top-ups, but I do it slowly so it's not to affect the water. But it's just basically dechlorinated tap water that goes into my Neocaridina shrimp. And like I say, 0 KH, 0 GH. But Ron in California keeps the same kind of shrimp, and his GH is 180. And I was like, what? I was proper shocked. He has got off now because he had a doctor's appointment. But it kind of, see what I mean about how you can find out how things are done throughout the world? Because that's like, I reckon if I made the GH in my Neocaridina tank to 180 over the next few days, I reckon over the next few days, them Neocaridina shrimp will be wiped out completely. Yet his thrive at that. So this is where I've been asking a question regarding GH and KH, because everyone's GH, KH are different all over the world, not just like in my country. I know like down London, the guy before down London, he has to use RO water because his water's so hard. And I know this is a case of down south in the UK, the water is really hard, whereas as the further you get north, it goes softer. So when you're testing your GH and you're introducing new fish into your tank, I use a buffer. I use a buffer to adjust my KH, and I keep my KH and GH around about 5. And but I do like test the water that comes with the fish, because if them fish are being bred in water that has 0 KH and 0 GH, am I right to adjust that water? Because they're gonna like need that time, or even struggle in that changing parameters in your water. So it's a bit of a mad one, really. I've always been a little bit dubious, and it's always confused me a little bit regarding GH and KH, because some people say you should use buffers and some people say you don't, and it's just a weird one. I'd like a definitive answer on it. I don't think we'll ever get one, sadly. And then we were discussing, like I say, euthanasia. Euthanasia in the aquarium hobby is something that can be frowned upon of how people do it. Now, I polled like 17 Facebook groups, right? So I polled 17 Facebook groups on how do they euthanize fish when you've tried all those treatments and nothing's working and that fish is struggling, and you know that it's time that it's going to have to just be put to sleep. And I received Facebook group bans, numerous warnings, and all I did was ask a question. I polled it, and I actually put on the start, please be nice with each other. It's a touchy subject. It's just a case of I wanted to know how people did it before I made my video. And like I say, after 30 minutes, I'd got group bans. I kind of have a partnership going with the Facebook group Fish Keeping in the UK, which isn't just for people in the UK. It is for the whole world at the end of the day. If you want to join it, it's a great little group. And Craig, the guy who runs that, he contacted me and said, mate, I've had to take it off because it was causing so much problems. People that use blunt force trauma, and if you don't know what that is, that's just like hitting it over the head. And it's like, I had to take the poll off. So I ended up, because like I say, I got all these bans, so I ended up taking the poll off completely. It was on for about 30 minutes, and I kind of got a gist then of how people do it. And it is so surprising how many people flush a fish that's dying, and that flush doesn't guarantee that fish dies as it hits the water. And that fish has got a disease, you then risk diseasing your waterways. So there's different ways of doing it. There's ice baths, which is a way of killing small fish. But if those fish are over 2 inches, then it's quite a painful death. So that's frowned upon. There's phenoxyethanol, which will kill the fish over about 30 minutes, but there's no sedative qualities with that. So it'd be quite a painful death for the fish. And then there's the only way that's recommended by the RSPCA, and that's clove oil bath. So it's worth watching if you do any other way apart from the clove oil bath. It's well worth watching that video, because every other way is deemed as being quite cruel, and it is quite a touchy subject, really. So I have made this video, and I've tried to make it as controversial free as possible. So we look at all the other ways and why they're not, and then we look at the only way and why it is deemed as the better way. So I'm kind of hoping that people watch that and they'll learn from that and find out if they are actually doing the wrong way, because I'll put money on it. I bet 95% minimum people in this hobby have flushed fish before and not realised just how bad that can be, for not just for the fish that could be living in a sewer for a few hours as it finally reaches its end, but also, like I say, the fact that you can poison your own waterways, and that could have really bad effects on your waterways and everything, especially in Australia. Australia, wipe out their ecosystem because you flushed a fish down the toilet. Because Australia, as we were discussing earlier, are quite strict with their quarantine laws anyway. So it's always good to try and keep these things out of our waterways. Broccoli, your mum stinks of fish, does she? There's not much I can do about that, buddy, I'm afraid. ATAL pet lovers, thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the stream. I am doing well, mate. Yes, I am doing really well. We have been on for just over 2 hours now, 2.5 hours. We've been doing a live stream, and we've done really well today. It's been a really good start to the fish club. My Instagram is BGN Aquariums, mate. It's just the same as the YouTube handle. Bravo Golf November, BGN Aquariums. Yeah, mate, get on there, follow me. I tend to do quite a lot on Instagram as well. But it's also a good way of talking to me through the private message system on there as well, if you want to ask anything that you don't want to ask on here. I do still work over the next couple of weeks. I am off work, so I am looking at concentrating on promoting the YouTube as much as possible. But sometimes I might not answer straight away, but I do try and answer every single message or question that comes through to me, especially if you DM me on Instagram, mate. And I'm not fussy. If you want to DM me on Instagram, buddy, you certainly can do. Yes, mate. Yes, send it through, mate. And when I go on Insta later on, I'll accept and friend you as well. It's a nice way of swapping information on Instagram as well. Swapping each pictures of tanks and things like that to see how people do. And I like to see other people's setups. I like to show my setups off, obviously, because they look stunning. But it's also nice to see other people's setups as well. And I'll be honest, on Instagram, when you start looking at your your World Series aquascapers, and you look at what they do, and then you look at your tanks and think, oh my God. And I'm like, I'm at a level to some of those. I like some of the aquascapes that you see that just use moss. Just amazing. The look that you can get on some moss is just fantastic, isn't it? So yeah, it would be nice to grow the community here, to get this as a regular thing. Like I say, I'll carry on doing the regular Saturdays, and then in the evenings I might start doing one in the evenings if it's required, and just have this this fish club meet. I think it's been really good. I think I am going to call it a day now. We've been on for over 2.5 hours. It's been really enjoyable. I'm getting quite hungry, and I think we will call it a day. So sorry guys, if you've just joined the stream, we are just about to end it. It has been really great day today. I've been on for like 2.5 hours. So just before I go, I will just recap. So this is going to be like a fish club meeting, online fish club meeting, and it's just going to be it's going to be great because we're going to have people from all over the world, like we have done today, swapping information, getting to know each other, having a bit of a laugh, and I know some people have picked up quite a lot of information today, which proves that it just works so well. Shari, I will have a great week, mate. Thanks for joining us today. Like I say, I will be back Wednesday afternoon from 2 p.m. and the same again on Friday from 2 p.m. So we will keep this thing going over the next couple of weeks. I hope you can pass by and say hello. And thanks to everybody that's logged in today and watched the stream, and everyone that's been on the chat. It's been absolutely belting today. So thanks, guys. And if you haven't already, click the like button, click the subscribe button, watch a few of my videos, and I will see you on Wednesday at 2. Cheers, guys. Bye now.